Simcha, celebration, Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Eitan Berger. The Good Point Theatre was first established in Israel in 1999, and they mainly focused on Jewish stories for children. As they became more recognized, the theatre company evolved into something much greater.
את העצים תשים קרוב לבית, אה?
כן, אדון סמוטניק.
ינקל, אתה יודע מה סיפרו לי? שמעתי שמסתובבים חיילים של הצבא, של רוסיה. הם מחפשים אנשים לעבודות של הצבא.
I was born in kibbutz, and I didn't know nothing about Judaism. When I was something like 18, I go to study theater in a lab theater of Jerzy Gutowski, that was a spiritual man and a very famous director. And he gave me the first Judaism books that I see, Hasidic book that I see in my life. It's called Shifchei Abal Shem Tov. It's about a great rabbi and leader that his name is Baal Shem Tov. And this book changed all my life, and I started to search how you do a religion, Jewish theater with a lot of art, a lot of emotion. And I find Amichai, and we start to do theater together.
Since I was a child, I loved acting and telling stories. After my army service, I met Omri, and our first show for kids was Even HaBareket, the Bareket Stone. It's an adventure for kids and adults about a character named Gdalia. He always complains and sees the bad. And he finds himself in a journey to Africa to find the crystal which disappeared from the temple in Jerusalem. He meets Africans, monkeys, African natives, tigers, and in his journey, he learns that in everything in the world there is a good point. That's also our name of the theater, the Good Point Theater, the Nekuda Tova. Good point is to find the spiritual dot in everything. After we made several more shows for children, which were played all over Israel, in all over populations, and in every place people just said, "Wow, it's a new thing. We didn't see such a thing."
Playback theatre is an original form of improvisational theatre in which audience or group members tell stories from their lives and watch them reenacted on the spot. One such theatre company that performs this genre is the Good Point Theatre Company in Israel.
I came from the education and formal education world, and then I used to do a lot of improvisational theater. Whose line is it anyway, that kind of work. And after a few years, it was funny, but I didn't feel it was real enough for me. I didn't feel it energized me beyond just having that funny line. And then I discovered playback theater, which actually grew out of psychodrama. So it comes from a therapeutic tradition, and it incorporates storytelling and community theater. And what I love about playback theater is that it's real. It uses spontaneity, the now moment, and it brings the community together. My day job, I work as a therapist. I'm a social worker, I'm a clinical social worker, I'm a couple and family therapist, and I'm a playback theater practitioner, teacher, and trainer. So for me, therapy, art, and education, they're all connected. And that's what I love about playback, because the show, it's art, it's a performance. It also has an essence of community, of learning, of growing. And it's something about it is healing, hearing your story being played back. You're giving us it's exchange of presence. Or as Jonathan Fox, the inventor of it, said, it's a theater that's in service of people. You give us a story, we play it back to you, and we give you back a present. And then everybody who watches can project on that story, because we all have these stories in us. We're all connected by the collective unconscious, if you want to use Jung's terminology, or we're all one people, one race, if you want.
Last month, I went to the supermarket. It was on a Wednesday afternoon, and I was doing shopping for Shabbat. And I was standing next to the wine department, and I was looking for wine. And I thought to myself, well, this Shabbat I'm going to buy a nice bottle of wine. Because it's for Shabbat, I will be a little bit more happier. And there was another man standing right next to me. And suddenly I caught with my sight that someone comes towards him and hits him over his head. I thought it was a newspaper. Someone took a newspaper and hit him over his head.
This other guy in the supermarket.
Yeah, okay. And I thought to myself, well, that's not nice. I should interfere and separate between them. And as I was turning towards them, I got this person with a newspaper came towards me and hit me over my head too. And I thought to myself, wow, that wasn't a newspaper. I felt like something really massive went on my head. And I looked at the man and I saw he had a big knife. And I actually split my head open, but I didn't feel that. I just felt like I got a great maka. And then I saw that knife and I started to scream, murder, murder. And later on, I thought to myself, that's a very funny way to express yourself. When I never called no one murderer while he was attacking me. Right. And anyhow, I actually immediately attacked him back, and he started running away. And then someone heard that I was shouting, and he came and he shot that guy.
Wow, shot that guy?
He shot the guy.
Where it was?
Rami Levy, in the supermarket.
Matai?
Wow.
That's it. Wow.
He was there.
And for you, how does the story end for you?
That's a very good question. I think it didn't end yet, the story. I think it won't end forever. I will live with this story for a long time. Actually, I feel that I'm very lucky. I mean, the guy that was first attacked, I feel that I saved him. And the man that came and also helped me save many more other people. Yeah. So in a way, it was I didn't buy the bottle for Shabbat yet, but it was a great present.
Playback theater is a theater that people from the audience come and tell stories about themselves, and we improvise this story immediately, and we try to touch the heart of this person which came and tell the story, and to bring a present.
What a boring day. Mister, please, do you have a club
Membership.
Do you have club membership? Another day.
Look at those Jews. All the day they are doing shopping. They want this for Shabbat. But I have news for them.
Excuse me, can I have this bottle of wine? I want for Shabbat. I'm looking for to do Shabbat. I'm searching for the real Shabbat. I search for the real Israel. Where's my wine? I want to drink something. You have wine? Excuse me, you have something to drink?
Welcome. Do you love this wine?
Very much.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Are you sure?
It's a wine or it's a knife?
No, it's a wine.
Just what you hold in your hand?
It's a bottle of wine. Don't you see? Everybody sees. Just a bottle of wine. It's just a bottle of wine.
Show me.
Murderer! Someone's killing us! Someone's killing us! Stop him! Stop him! Police! I never saw such a thing. I mean, it happened so quick. I couldn't believe it happened. I mean, was this real? Did this really happen to me?
What is happening with you? Your head hurts?
Yeah, my head really hurts. I have a splitting headache. A splitting headache.
My heart hurts also. Somebody shot me.
Somebody shot you.
I'm not here anymore. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. שלום עליך, תשתה.
אבא, איפה היין?
זה יין מיוחד.
יין ממש יקר, איפה בחרת אותו?
זה ליאור, זה יין... It's something else. It's not a real wine. It's life. You understand? I find my life again.
And well, if this is an exchange of presents, and we heard a story before, someone's very personal story. He's giving us a gift. Now he's telling it, the gift he's getting is a reflection, right? It's a playback. Why is it called playback? Because we're playing back the story we just heard. So in a sense, he's giving, he's very generous. And at the same time, he's receiving. Now, what's beautiful about playback is that it's, for instance, it was Danny's story. It was in his individual story. And yet, it's all of our stories. And I feel like in that sense, as a couple therapist, I see a lot of couples fighting. I'm giving, I'm not giving, I mean, you're only taking. I think in reality, it's impossible for someone just to give. And it's impossible for someone just to take. And I feel a balanced relationship should have both. And that's why I feel about playback theater. Because think about it, actors are usually, it's all about me. It's my ego. Here I am, I want the applause. And when we train, I constantly tell my actors, it's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. You're in service of a story. You're in service of a community. So in fact, it's the least selfish and it's the most selfish at the same time. And only when I really bring myself, when I just say, I'm just going to be what I feel. I heard a story, I'm just going to go with my intuition. At that moment, I'm receiving and I'm giving at the same time. So I feel it's really, it's life. It's life.
How long will it take?
I don't understand.
For me in my life, it's like two parallel lines. I feel that the progress, the thing that I have with the religion, to the process that I'm going through in my life to know God and to know if I can be more specific, to know, not just to know God, to speak to God in my own words, to talk with Him, something that I learned and I'm still learning from the Torah from Rabbi Nachman from Breslov. So I feel like I become every day something more like searching for the truth. Like you feel like a sense of what is true and what is the opposite, what is the false. And in acting, exactly specific in theater, when you do playback, when you hear a story, someone. So for me, in the beginning, it was very hard. I was very nervous, and I was because it's very emotional. And it's not something that you have a text and you have a character and you're going through one thing and that's it. You're really touching people in their, in their very intimical things and thoughts and everything. But there is something really magical inside it, because you feel that when someone tells a story, you always try to listen a little deeper to what he tries to tell you behind the words. And usually, and it's very, it surprised me in the beginning, but usually there are the same things that people are saying. People are saying, I'm afraid, accept me, love me, I don't feel safe in this world, and what am I doing is okay? Have somebody here had the same experience? When you think about it, it's a little like to sit in a room with kids that just telling a story, and then you sit with adults, that are telling a story and they are very logical, and but for me, it made me a more sensitive man, I feel.
Playback performers tend to specialize in one of several roles: conductor, actor, or musician. For audiences, the active performers can seem naturally gifted, as they create their performances without a script or a score. Most companies do not consult or huddle prior to the beginning of the story, trusting instead on a shared understanding of the story they have heard and a readiness to respond to each other's cues.
We are based and is inspired by Jerusalem. And of course, it's influenced the whole world of creation. Jerusalem is the holy city for the whole world. And when you create in Jerusalem, it's not like to create in other place. You feel it. You feel the light, the holiness, you feel the energies.
Hello, I'm Esther from South Africa, and I'm going to Jerusalem, but it's not real. Everything is not real, it's a dream. It's real? What's going on here? This is real? This is real? I'm going to die one day? Maybe today, maybe in Israel.
It's like a cure to yourself, first of all, because you see yourself through other people. And a lot of times in this kind of theater, you're going to stage and you don't know what's going to be. Really, you don't know it. Many shows are so depend with what the audience brings with them on the atmosphere that develops through the evening, and how much people are ready to open themselves and to tell deep stories or not. Sometimes you see that actually the comic things, that sometimes you take a story and you know, even if it's a heavy story, but you tell it comically and, with humor. But people suddenly, they look at themselves from the side, and it brings a new perspective on life.
Where is my butterfly? Have you seen my butterfly? Somebody seen my butterfly? Where is life? I want to touch life. Do you sell life here? Sorry? Do you sell life? Somebody sells life here? I want to touch life.
I think that the greatest crisis, again, if I relate to marriages, I think why there's so many divorces because we are losing our community. We're over individualization in the 21st century. It's just basically everything we see, we just see as one. We're losing that support. We're losing that network. We're losing that. It takes a village to raise a child. We're forgetting that. And I feel like if I bring that back to playback theater, I'd say that what does playback theater do? We create a community. So even today in our little performance, for a moment there, we were all together. We all shared Dani's story and Esther's story. Like it was all together. And I feel like that's why I see people coming again and again to these shows. Because on one hand, it's improvised, so you never know what's going to happen. On the other hand, it's not just watching something that's on stage, and I'm just looking and saying, wow, that's really aesthetic. I'm saying, wow, that's me. I know what it is to feel lost, to feel pain, to be alone, to be in a strange land, to be strangely attracted to these people and go there, to be scared, to be afraid.
Esther, I love you. I mean, you're great. I just don't get this. Like, why would you travel to a war zone? Okay, they're like bombing things and they're shooting people. They're stabbing people in supermarkets. I mean, what's the news? I mean, that's craziness. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with all of you people? Why are you even living here? Don't you understand? This is crazy. It's crazy living in Israel. And you're going to visit them. I'll never get you.
I want that the audience will connect with the Jewish art that they have inside. They don't have to be religion people because Judaism, it's for everyone. And I want they will see something that also is professional and also with religion and Judaism.
There's a very important concept in playback theater called the red thread, which is the unconscious connection between the stories at a specific gathering of a playback performance or workshop. Okay, so part of weaving us together as a community is that one story sparks in the minds of all the listeners another story, and a story talks to a story. So the beauty about playback, I don't need to solve anybody's problems. I just play back the story, and the next story will echo that story. And if I take that as a metaphor for what I think should happen within Judaism, I think we need to be telling more stories and less judging stories or negating other people's stories. There's enough room for everyone. And it's by hearing those stories and projecting on those stories my stories, that's the red thread. That's what brings us together. And I feel like that's where Judaism and playback theater, or our specific group, or Chozel, comes together.
Sadly, that's all we have time for this week's episode of Simcha. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to be in touch with us, please find us on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions and drop us a line. From myself, Eitan Berger, and the whole team here at Simcha, have a great week and goodbye.